caption. What is up? What is up? What is up? Okay, that one is pinned. Psalm come pin text event to 33777 on the Instagram one. To the left. Hey y'all. Hello, hello, hello. You're focused on the wrong part. Text. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello.
3777, right?
Mm-hmm. Boom. Hey, hey, hey. Shirt. Hey, y'all. This is Rama from our Stop Shop. Some of the team will be joining me tonight for tonight's live. Um, so before we kick off news, we are going to start off with covering last weekend, which was Rick Ross's inaugural car and bike show, a Black history making event for Georgia as well as just for the community, which was super, super dope. Also, we did some rough math. It was a $2 million event, um, which was dope, right? That is game changing in itself for us to be able to do something at such a massive level, so innovative, so innovatively, and in such volume, just as a really super rough draft number on the low end, $2 million was generated just by putting that event on. And I say that not to pocket watch or anything, but to talk about how much capacity our community really does have the ability to achieve. That event was held outdoors on private property. It was held outdoors on private property and was able to make such a drastic impact. So just imagine us all taking on that responsibility, us all who have the capacity and have the knowledge and have the connections to do something that can be that impactful for our collective community, right? That was a huge bridge for anybody connected to the automobile industry, from paint jobs to hauling, to repairs, to washing vehicles, to maintenance on vehicles, to even the bare minimum supplies. That was a game changing environment for them, but that was also a game changing environment for other people as well, right? One of the awesome companies we met there that weekend was somebody who does private sales of motor vehicles, right? You get connected to so many resources, people who teach you how to leverage to acquire and own a mobile bowling alley. It was so many amazing connections made. Rich Forever definitely did something game changing with just creating a space to streamline the culture in that way. However, it was also to just streamline finding like minds, who understood the power of investing with one another, who understood the power of collective support, who understood the power of community, right? The really dope thing about that event was it was no real performances. There were a couple of local artists that got on stage towards the end, but for the most part, it was not a concert, it was a car show. And that in itself was powerful and dynamic, you know, um, and game changing. And I think it's important to discuss that out loud because we have the capacity to do that over and over and over again. We have the capacity to fill in those gaps and help really establish generational wealth, legacy wealth for so much of our community in so many different areas and so many different facets. The real testament to this was it's so many ways to build wealth, and this was just one, and it was isolated, you know. um, and it didn't even require putting on a performance. So I think that was really dope. I would like to have to have that conversation. Sam, hurry up! I would like to have that conversation out loud, not just from my perspective, because my perspective is always a really strong one, about anything that comes with economic empowerment or generational wealth or collective initiatives in our community. I think it's important to have that conversation from the perspective of people outside of me on my team so you can hear what it was like for Sam as a 10-year-old in a space where everybody was super, super intentional to be there. I think it's important for you to hear from Thomas, who isn't as much of a car enthusiast, who isn't as knowledgeable about the culture around car shows and stuff, to be in that space engaging differently, right? It's it's gonna be dope. I think it's dope to have that conversation and share our experiences, which drastically vary in perspective, right? And so Thomas is here.
Hmm. Oh, what being there was very eye-opening and very like to meet lots of people, especially seeing what other people were. It's not like everybody was there to sell. No, the best thing you do you get to big events like that is sell, sell, sell. But that was really the main goal of anybody. Most people I encountered, most people, everybody was just hanging
Okay.
out. Everybody had ID had business cards. So I even started having business cards in my pocket. Everybody that walked by asked me if any business owner that walked by was handing out business cards. Even if you didn't even say much to them, you hang out a business card. It was like, hey, we need a network, we need a network, we need a network. And then when as soon as we got there, yeah, network. And I know the first time when we got there, everybody was like, wow, it's the first event Rick Ross was doing it. But everybody, I think it was really out of open when people was like, what do we set up? Everybody was very confident. Everybody, hey, how much space you need? Hey, you need this space here. Hey, we can make it work. Everybody wanted everybody to do good there. Because when you got there, you were like, whoa, where do we set up at? Everybody was like, nobody knew. So we all, everybody did most, but unfortunately, everybody knew how to set up. You don't know who they were. It's very good. And everybody helped each other out too. Hey, if you needed something, hey, can I free something here? Hey, you got some water? Hey, I need something right here. Hey, can you help me with this? Carry this? It's very awesome. And the networking part. Yeah, I met people. I met somebody from. I met somebody right from North Carolina. Did not even know he was in North Carolina. He's like an hour away. And he does stuff in services, help people in repairs, learning skills, and car repairs, repairing plumbing, carpentry. He taught a class right up the street. Didn't even know that. That was awesome.
What did you take away from the event, Sam?
Well, when we got to the event, we realized that only one of the gates was open and that people were entering and exiting from that gate. And
What did you take away from the whole event?
well, the whole event was very thought out. It could have been a little bit better, but it was still very thought out. And it was a really nice event.
What made it nice to you? Focus on this direction. I'm listening.
That he was letting people go to the poolside party and letting people go inside of his pool.
The event didn't happen by his pool. Well,
No, I mean
it
like.
was a car show. So,
Well, I thought it was really cool how everybody had brought all these really nice, customized, and old school cars.
hmm what was nice about it?
Just seeing a lot of cars was the best part for me, and meeting a lot of new people from all over the country.
Was there anything you learned from the experience? Or was there anything that opened your mind or gave you perspective about from being there? You don't have anything to say? I just asked you a question.
I'm thinking about questioning this answer.
Got it. So, yeah, I think this experience was eye opening to me to see how invested people are. You should still be thinking. To see how invested people were into just not just um, a profession, but also a passion. Not everybody there worked in the automobile industry or had any type of actual professional connections to it. Some of those people were just really, really passionate. And I think this was one of the few times where the Black community could be consumed in being car lovers, but also acknowledge it from a place of culture, from a place of community, from a place of relatability. You know, there were a lot of people who mirrored characteristics, and it was cool to just see so many like minds in that route. One of the dope things I seen at the event that was like mind blowing to me. Somebody had their huge truck wrapped in uh in a tribute to a lot of historic Black leaders: Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I believe Garvey was on the truck, amongst a couple of others. That was to be able to pay homage in a space like that. Now, he also had one of the loudest sound systems there as well. But to be able to be in a space where our legacy doesn't have to be whitewashed. It doesn't have to be drowned out. It doesn't have to be diluted. That was really dope. One of the things that we were really close to was a tribute to Nipsey Hussle. They set up a tribute to Nipsey Hussle at the Rick Ross car and bike show, which was really, really dope. You know, Nipsey Hussle was really about investing into the community, investing into the culture, creating and cultivating spaces for sustainability as well. And so it was dope to see that. It was dope to just be on a Black man's land. Like, he hosted a $2 million event at his house on his acres, and it wasn't even a lot of space used for it. There was still ample space unoccupied. There were 6,000 tickets sold, hundreds of people involved connected to operations and being vendors. Um, and might I add, there was no violence. So somebody from the hip hop community, where all this propaganda and all of these stereotypes are projected onto our community, was able to host one of the safest events out here. That speaks volumes about the shift in mindset. It speaks volumes about our capacity. It speaks volumes about the connections there are to be made, and what's really worth the investment. You know, like the barrier, the point, the cost of entry on the very low end was $250. The cost of entry on the high end was 25,000, and very few people had much to say about the price. Very few, and I thought that was dope. I thought it was really amazing to be in spaces where we engaged a lot of people who just wanted to support, right? We rolled out our new edition of our Building Black Wealth shirts last weekend, and a number of people pre-ordered. So that was dope for us. It was really, really dope to find like minds, to connect with people who are about financial literacy, financial education in a space that was supposed to be about cars and hip hop. I met investors. I met people who are innovators and game changers in their own industries. And it just tells you that when you're around like minds who are invested, we're fluid. The black people like that can exist in any space. It doesn't have to be a space where you're given permission to talk about finances. It doesn't have to be a space where you're given permission to talk about business. It doesn't have to be a space where you're given permission to talk about marketing or advertising or strategy. Any space has the capacity to become that when you're around like minds and they're receptive of it. And those were some huge takeaways for me. I met social media influencers, professional social media influencers there. I met artists there, really dope artists. I met transportation services there. I met really dope educators there.
Do you remember that
I
guy?
didn't just meet people in the car industry. I met herbalists and storefront owners amongst all of the automobile professionals. It was dope. I had an amazing time. There was a mobile vet clinic there. There was somebody selling pits, literally selling pit bulls, you know. Um, so I had a great time. What did you want to say?
Do you remember that guy we saw with the custom made boat that looked like a Porsche, I think?
What about it?
Well, he was another really cool person.
That was dope too. We had a car show where this man made a car replica boat to um to participate in the car show. You know, it was so dope. Came across DSD there participating in a car show to brand their epoxy business. Like it was just so many really game changing people there. It really was. And it was a lot of game changing connections. So if you went in there and your mind was focused on simplicity or just focused on money, like, oh, well, let me make this money. Like you missed so many connections there were to make. There were people that you could have elevated with, you know. It was game changing. Came across one of the youngest black NASCAR drivers casually, you know. Came across a lot of media companies and platforms casually. Right. So yeah. And so that guy that has me hyped. That has me hyped about everything we have in the works. That has me hyped about this weekend, the Taste of Soul and the NC Sugar Rush events happening Saturday and Sunday. That has me hyped about the Raleigh International Food Festival next weekend. It has me super hyped about our Black Business Expo. We host the biggest Black Business Expo in the country. I don't know if anybody realizes that, including my team, but we do. We host the biggest Black Business Expo in the country. And so to get in spaces where our community is realizing how fundamentally necessary it is to streamline accessibility and revitalize Black Wall Street from the inside out, it has me pumped about July 30th and 31st. It has me pumped about Black Friday weekends, Expo as well. Like it's a huge deal to be cultivating spaces that give unrestricted access to support, to normalize community, to normalize representation, to be able to find anything you're looking for without the white noise and hashtags being saturated with distractions. Like, and to know that we made Black history in the Carolinas with our event and have just attended a historic event as well is just it got me hyped on one. You know, if Rick Ross was able to generate $2 million for just from a single event based around the automobile industry. Man, what can we do if we just allow for ourselves to not just sustain, but grow and build on a platform where it gives unrestricted access to every resource you could possibly need in the Black community? It's not even about the money, it's about what the how much further, how much more impact can be had from that type of revenue being generated from events. I'm pumped about it. And this is why y'all need to text event to 33777, because you got to get connected. You can't wait for permission. You have to claim your presence. You have to claim access. You have to be intentional about it. Y'all got anything else y'all want to say?
I love how people are just walking around to the other vendors, giving them business cards and telling them to come by their booths.
Yes. Been to y'all this weekend. Hope to see y'all out there at Taste of Soul and in Cigarettes.
Yep. So we're downtown this Saturday at the Durham Central Park. Sunday, we are at Raleigh City Plaza. Taste of Soul is happening in Durham Central Park. On Saturday, Raleigh City Plaza is NC Sugar Rush. I think it's going to be amazing. If y'all want to get connected with us and you are not connected with us, go ahead right now, text event to 33777. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline that we are super pumped about, that everybody in the community needs to rally around. All of the events I just mentioned are free admission events. So there's really no excuse not to pull up and have a good old time and get around community. We love you guys to life.